Welcome, everyone, to another Games Talk Live episode. Today is number 79, I believe. We're going to have a lot of fun today talking about Zelda's success, the ABK deal not dying, the showcases, of course, and other stuff, because I've got a great guest here with me today. Brand new guest to the show, Miss Cassie Cage from the cult classic Cage YouTube channel. You got to check it out. I've been liking the stuff I've been seeing from you, even though I don't agree on everything. Like we were talking before the show, you've got a lot of like spunk, and I like that. And you got a lot of opinions on this gaming industry and everything. And it's good to see somebody that is very opinionated and very strong-willed like you and sticks to their guns. I like that. So welcome.
Oh man, I appreciate it. It's really cool to be here. Honestly, a lot of like people that I enjoy hanging out with, or people that I think are really awesome individuals in gaming, have been on Games Talk, and it's cool that you thought to invite me, and that that you even watched my videos, and that you think that I have interesting thoughts and opinions. That's cool, man.
That's awesome.
I appreciate that. I can communicate and get so many different people from different walks of life to even like sit there and be like, hey, like she has some interesting things to say. Like that's
when
that's
she
awesome.
says interesting walks of life, she's talking about this really old guy right here. Actually, check out the stuff she's doing. No, one of the videos I saw you create, and it really spoke to me, and I agreed 100% with it, was the Stop Simping Over $70 Games video. That one really spoke to me because I cannot stand people who champion $70 games. Look, we have not got a $70 game yet, in my opinion. Nothing's worth $70 right now.
I agree. And it's crazy because it's like you get called, oh, you're cheap for bitching about $10.
Oh, I am cheap. I'm
bro,
cheap.
That's not the point though. Like, what is the sentiment? What more is brought to gaming with them asking for more? That's exactly really the question that I'm asking, man. Like in a perfect world scenario, like if the games were complete day one, like from a content aspect as well as the games being a completely working product, like I'd be down to pay more. As long as it feels like it's earned. If it feels like the industry hasn't gotten worse since I grew up, like I would be okay with that. But in the current state of gaming, I can't co-sign it.
Broken games, it seems like every game that's come out, besides Dead Island 2, for some unforespoken reason, Dead Island 2, a game that's been in development hell for many years, has come out and actually been performing well on everything.
Yeah.
Console and PC. I can't say much about Jedi Survivor.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
Man. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom also performing well for its console, the Switch. It's handheld. It is what it is, people. It runs at 30 frames for a reason. I see people out there talking about Zelda and getting upset because Redfall was 30. Why are people okay with Zelda being 30? Well, look at the context here. You've got two completely different consoles. You've got a Series X that can run Redfall at 60. There should be no issue there. And then you've got Zelda on the Switch. Come on.
Yeah.
It's
I don't get that comparison. It's just, it's strange. It's like Nintendo put out the Switch, in like 2017. They never said that you were going to get 60 to 120 hertz like gaming content by any means. And it's a device that you could take with you on the go, man.
Yeah.
I brought up the fact that I have like this analog pocket. And if you think that, like, if people think that the Switch is a genuine like console device, then this would be considered one too. And this is just to play like, handheld games natively. This I can project onto my television.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a Game Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I could play Game Boy games on it, play GBA games. They have like attachments where you could play all sorts of like handheld games from, back in the day. And I love it. I actually chose this over a Steam Deck, believe it or not.
Wow.
Because I have a big collection of GBA games that I would love to play natively as opposed to emulating them. So
you can still play those older games. Like I have a nostalgic fondness for the older games, but I can't go back and play them. Like I've moved on and I've gotten to the point where I know I'm in the minority here, but I love just open world games.
Yeah. No,
Third
I
person
don't blame you.
perspective, big open world games. Those are my jam now. But back in the day,
Yeah.
I would love some of those older games. I mean, Mario, Zelda, all those games I used to play back in the day, but I can't do it anymore. It's just, I don't know.
Dang. See, for me, it's more so 2D games that I think are easy to go back to, whereas 3D, like I was like a baby gamer when on the dawn of the 3D era, and back then I knew nothing. Like I was like, you know, new to playing video games when PS1 and N64 came out. And I just wanted all the games that I could get because I was just obsessed with this thing that my parents didn't understand, but they knew that I was dying to be involved. So that was what's awesome about it.
Exactly.
But like going back to 3D games specifically is very difficult. Some of them age decently, some of them age poorly, but to me, I think the games that do stand the test of time more so are 2D. So GBA is like a SNES on steroids, like in a handheld. So I dig it a lot.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, speaking of games, I don't know how much you've watched of the show, but I play a game here with my guests. Okay. And of course, it's a trivia game. And I like to call it 5 questions. All right. We're going to play some 5 questions. 4 trivia questions, and the 5th one is subjective. But as host, I have the power to say whether you're right or wrong. All right. So let's go ahead and start out with question number 1. This year's gaming showcases are almost here, but can you tell me what the Xbox showcase ended with last year at their big showcase?
Was it Starfield?
Correct. Starfield.
Oh.
They ended with Starfield. You know, at one point, I think it was the show before that, they ended with one more thing, and it was Redfall. How did that turn out?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Oof.
That was supposed to be the big one more thing, and man,
Yep.
feel sorry for that. Anyways, number 2, what do most of the fairies do in Zelda games?
Well, they give him directions. Tell him what he has to do.
What? I'm looking for a different answer there. What? Okay, you got that wrong. Restore life. They restore your life.
No.
That's what most of the fairies do in the game. Number 3, Alduin is a dragon your character is sent to destroy. This dragon is also known as the World Eater. What game am I referring to?
I don't even know. Holy.
Alduin, the World Eater. Huge game. Take a guess.
Man. That one caught me. Damn, I'm not sure. I really don't know.
That would be Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Skyrim.
That I'm not a Skyrim fan. I'm
Oh.
Oblivion fan.
There you go. That's why. All right, number 4. What is the fastest selling video game of all time? Fastest selling video game of all time.
Tears of the Kingdom? It's up there. Oof.
GTA 5.
You're dang.
Okay, so
That
Tears
10
of the
million
Kingdom.
in 3 days caught me.
Yeah, but GTA 5 sold 11 million in 24 hours.
You know what? I'm surprised, but I shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be surprised.
be.
It's sold like gangbusters, and it's sold everywhere too.
good.
So it's a different. We could shut the music off for this one. The 5th question here: if you were forced to play any of these 2 games, well, if you were forced to play one of these 2 games, which would you choose and why? Now, listen, if you were forced to play these, Redfall or last year's Saints Row,
Oh my god, dude.
which would you
You know
choose and
what?
why?
I would go for Redfall just because I don't feel nostalgic about it because it isn't even an established franchise.
You know what? That's kind of a good answer there. Saints Row is so bad. And also, Saints Row also came out kind of jank. I remember playing that game, and one of the missions I was in wouldn't finish. I couldn't continue the game because I needed to finish this mission, and it wouldn't finish for me. And I kept trying to like die and do it over. It would never finish. So I was like, forget this, uninstall. It's gone. By the way, Boba Fett Gaming, who's in the chat, was there in a party chat that night when it wouldn't work for me. So Saints Row sucks. I'm sorry, but it does.
Oh man, yeah. It sucks because I used to love the original franchise.
Me too.
First 2 games, man.
They were awesome. Saints Row was
man, it
awesome.
recaptures like that particular time so much.
Dude, just looking at those characters, I mean, they didn't exude gangster at all. None of them. It was lame. But that's what we're dealing with. We're in a different day and age. So unfortunately, you got to deal with what you got to deal with. What's up? Mav from Fun Speculation in the chat says, yo, FOnz, what's up? I see you. Boba Fett Gaming, Fun Speculation. We've got Boss Mod, Lethal, Papa. Shout out to all my moderators in the chat, locking it down, keeping it going, and just making everybody have fun in the chat. That's what I like. I like people to have fun. I don't like to see the mess and the drama. Like, you could disagree with me in the chat, but keep it civil, keep it nice and appropriate. Cassie, I don't know if you heard about this, but both China and the EU has ruled in favor of letting the Activision Blizzard King deal go through. And I mentioned King because not a lot of people mention King. They always mention Activision Blizzard. And it's really King that Microsoft is trying to go after the most because they want in that mobile space. People, that's where those billions and billions of dollars are coming from, is that mobile space.
Yep, it's facts.
Yeah, so, but I digress. So despite the CMA ruling anyway, remember the CMA's blocked the deal. The EU has approved it with concessions. And here's the funny part, Cassie. What they made in concessions here with the Xbox, or forced them to do, was exactly why the CMA stopped them, because they were worried about the cloud tech and the future of cloud. And it's just funny to me that all you had to do was give them some concessions, CMA, but you didn't think about that. You just blocked it. The EU basically said that all they have to do is give free licensing to consumers for the Activision Blizzard games that would allow them to stream on any cloud service they so choose, which makes sense for the next 10 years. Why couldn't the CMA come up with that? Do you think they just went in there just wanting to block this deal from the get-go? I don't know.
It kind of sounds like possibly that is the case. I mean, ideally, you kind of we just want it to be over with. Like, I think everybody, whether, so like, at least it would be more reasonable to, hey, like, we can consider this, but you have to do these things. Like, it doesn't seem like they do want to be reasonable. And I'm not really I'm kind of indifferent to the deal. I don't really care if it goes through or not. To me, it's like, I'm going to play Call of Duty, on a service, something that makes me miserable on a service, or if it doesn't go through, well, I'm just not going to play Call of Duty anymore because Modern Warfare 2 was absolutely an abysmal experience for me. So to me, I don't really care so much on that front. It's just, we just want it at this point. If it just goes through, just let it go through.
And if it don't, it don't. I want it to be over with as well. Now I have a bias in here. I want it to go through because I really like Game Pass and I want as much AAA content within the service as possible. So I want all those games there. And it's just as a consumer. Has nothing to do with being pro Xbox or whatever. I could care less about the corporation itself. I'm all about the consumer. I want more in my service that I personally like. I don't care about anybody else, honestly. Sorry, guys, but I don't. It comes down to me, all right? When it comes to this whole thing, it comes down to me. And it comes down to them too. It comes down to you, Cass, right? When you think of gaming, you think, what do I like? What do I want? What are my needs? It's selfish. The hobby is selfish. So we all like what definitely. We like. So one thing I wanted to see here, by the way, did you see as soon as the EU had approved this, the CMA came out on Twitter and had a response to this, and they sounded like a scorned ex-girlfriend, pretty much.
I
Oh
mean,
my
the
gosh.
EU and like basically the UK and EU have been clashing for years over like,
Yeah.
world politics and stuff. So that doesn't necessarily surprise me.
But then the
So
CMA, I guess they were interrogated by the UK, the government over there, the
wow.
parliament, about this whole situation. And they were asked something that they've denied in the past, whether or not that they had been conversing with the FTC. And it came out that they
Mm,
were. And they were given a choice. Tell us what you talked about here in public right now, or tell us behind closed doors. Of course, CMA chose behind closed doors.
yeah.
So they have been conversing with the FTC, which a lot of people were speculating and pointing fingers at, and they were denying, and now it came out that they were. Do you think that there's any chance there? Because there's a lot of people out here who love these, conspiracy theories. Is there any collusion going on there between the FTC and CMA? Do they just want to see them go down? They don't want Xbox to, innovate or take on all this, IP and publishing, all this stuff. What do you think? Is there any collusion?
I mean, it very well could be from what I've seen. Just living my life. All these governments, they always want something out of everything that's done. So it would surprise me if they want something specific out of this whole thing. It's usually the case more often than not, sadly. So I think that they're just being fussy for whatever reason it may
Yeah.
be. Who
Yeah, I
knows?
say it's possible. It's
Could be.
possible. Is it true? I have no idea, people. But at the end of the day, it's weird that it came out that they were talking to the FTC. Like, why are you talking to the FTC about this situation? Anyway, you're supposed to be acting on your own accord, in good faith, making your own, regulatory decisions. It's just kind of weird to me. It doesn't set right with me, especially when they said they'll tell them what was talked about behind closed doors. It's like, I want to hear it, damn it. As a consumer, I want to hear it. But for the deal itself, do you see Microsoft? Because a lot of people think that now that the CMA has blocked it, but the EU approved it, that they'll possibly just pull out of the UK and just say, okay, you don't get to play these games in the UK, but everybody else will around you. Do you think that there's any chance that Microsoft may do that?
If it comes down to it, I think that they will. Especially if they're the only ones still holding back. I wouldn't necessarily blame them for doing it. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Maybe over time the UK would reconsider their decision specifically because of that, because that kind of just makes them look bad more than anything else. Like, basically,
Yeah.
your decision is just hindering people's, entertainment experience. So it wouldn't surprise me. I know that the UK particularly embraces PlayStation more, from what I do know.
Yes, they
So
do.
I guess they'll at the end of the day, Xbox is going to consider how detrimental doing that is going to be. And if it's more detrimental than losing this major acquisition, that's really what the balance here is.
Facts. Firestorm in the chat says, I hope not. I'm in the UK.
Yeah.
He wants
That
his Game
sucks.
Pass. He wants all those games. Like, he doesn't want Microsoft or Xbox to pull out. But, there's a lot of tech companies pulling out of the UK right now. Like, and the UK was touted as becoming another Silicon Valley, like the second coming of Silicon Valley. Now it seems like they're stopping this deal and scaring, other people away because they feel like, hey, this is going to stunt innovation in some areas if the CMA is acting like this. And I get it, but it is kind of scary for you guys in the UK. I don't want to see that happen. I really don't want to see that happen. I want something to change there if it does go through everywhere else and Microsoft decides, okay, we're going to cut out the UK or whatever. I hope at that point the CMA is like, we can't do this. We got to let these consumers, have their choice. And it's so weird to me, the fact that Microsoft is willing to give this free licensing for these games and let people choose where they want to play it on any cloud service already. Why isn't that enough? It makes no sense to me. I really don't get it. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to really stick to this topic too long because I know you've heard about this too much, people. And I'm not a big fan of going on and on about this topic. In fact, ABK, like we talked about earlier, I just want it over with. I want it done. So we'll move on. We'll talk about Zelda and their 10 million sales in just 3 days, which is huge. Ooh. Huge, especially for being on one platform like that. Just the Switch. What is it about Nintendo and their long-standing franchises that never seem to miss? What is it about that?
It's honestly, I don't even know how to describe it, man. Nintendo still continues to do what they do in ways they're very traditional, and a lot of people love that. A lot of people embrace that, even on hardware that is so severely outdated at this point. And while I haven't bought Tears of the Kingdom myself, like I have to like look at that and I'm like wowed by what they were able to accomplish. It's a testament to what they're capable of, you know, given, you know, hardware limitations. It's awesome to see. Yeah,
I admit, like, it's, even though it's not a game for me, I can see the mechanics that they threw in there and everything that you can do within the game. It's pretty impressive. You know, it is neat, but the Switch itself, I don't know about you, but I really wish that Nintendo would make a proper console that would really compete power-wise anyway with the rest of it.
I don't know necessarily like what I want Nintendo to do. What I don't want them to do, what I specifically don't want them to do is just to be the third of the same. So for them to make the same sort of thing, to, you know, accommodate a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, you know, series console. Yeah. I don't want them to do that. Do I want them to necessarily continue like exactly the path that they're on right now? No, not that either. But, you know, leave it to Nintendo to figure out something crazy to do that's different, right?
Well, the thing is like for me, I'm the opposite in that I would like them to be the third wheel there. I would like to see them get more multiplats again, you know, like they used to. Because at one time, Nintendo was very innovative and very, you know, power hungry when it came to these consoles. I mean, you look at Mode 7 with Super Nintendo, you look at, you know, N64 and stuff. They were trying to push boundaries. And then for some reason, and I know why, the handheld market is huge in some of the areas, you know, outside of the United States. It is here too, but I mean, massive. Like in Japan, handhelds are all the rage. Like that's what they love. And so they can't necessarily go back to just a standard console, the typical console. They have to continue with this handheld thing, I think, personally, because it's a winner for them. And man, people love it, seem to love it. So maybe more powerful handheld, plus maybe a better docking station or something that even gives it more power. I don't know. Something like that would be cool for me. Yeah. But I have that for sure. I have 2 Switches myself. My son has one. I have the other, but it's never used. My son uses one all the time. He plays everything, but then again, he likes a lot of AA games and like he's way more well-rounded than I am when it comes to gaming. Like I've stopped playing a lot of those games. That's the point of Nintendo. But yeah, he loves those type of games. Yeah.
It caters to, the Switch is different from the PlayStation 5 and Xbox, and it caters to your son extremely well, whereas for you, not so much, but you got an Xbox and a PlayStation, so.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, that's cool, man. It's cool that there is variety. I would like to see variety. I think it's interesting, but like where it does make the most sense to have that variety, not like nonsensical, gimmicky things that are just a waste of time. You know, Nintendo, I think, has to find that balance, but where Nintendo has always been hit on is the handhelds. Their consoles have been hit and miss.
Yeah, I'm not a handheld guy personally. I don't really care for them. And I buy all of them, and I don't know why. Like, for instance, I posted this on Twitter like 2 months ago. I found my old PSP that I bought day one, mind you, many years ago. I forgot how long ago it was. What, it was 12, 13 years ago? I don't even remember. I found it in the locker at my job. I brought it there like the first or second week I owned it and left it there and never touched it. The thing is immaculate, and it's got like 3 or 4 games with it. I'm sitting there looking at it. I'm like, I never even used this really. You know, it's strange but that's how stupid I am sometimes with these video games. I'll just buy consoles willy-nilly, but it's the hobby I love. So
yeah, exactly.
I try to buy
I
everything.
want to like everything too, you know.
Yep.
It just doesn't work out like that sometimes. Like I bought a Wii in hopes that I dig it, and I couldn't stand the damn thing.
Me too.
I bought a Wii U. I like the games, but did I like the system itself? No, I didn't like. I've always been the one. I just wanted everything.
Yep.
Like I guess I was spoiled for a while. I was an only child for like 6 years of my life, and I was very spoiled. And with gaming, it was like this insane hobby, and I just wanted to have all of those experiences. And some of them I clearly didn't like. Others I fell in love with, and giving it a try. And sometimes even if it's a miss, it's worth it to me.
What was your biggest regret you think that you've spent money on in gaming, whether it be a game or console?
Dang, my biggest regret. Probably Cyberpunk, man.
Oh,
I bought the collector's edition of Cyberpunk, and I saw the
Where were you
sides, and I'm
playing
just
it?
like, I played it on the PS5, but obviously it was the PS4 version, and
yeah,
that was I even have like the statue over here. It's a reminder that we could all get a little too hyped, man.
Did you ever play the game though?
I did.
Yeah.
I played it. I tried so hard. What killed me and made me say I cannot do this anymore is that my setup, like all the like the HDR setup, all that stuff would reset like every time I would boot the game. And for a while I kept fixing it, and then after, like, there was that one day I think I came home pissed from work. I started trying to play it, and it's like, oh, my stuff reset. Well, I'm done with this game, and I uninstalled it.
Well, I really hyped up that game a lot because I really believed in it. And I still will say that I did love the game. I played the game and I loved what I played. However, it was broken when it came to last gen consoles for sure. And I know it had more issues on the PlayStation 5 than it did on the Series X for some reason. I don't know why. Because on the Series X, I ran into a few bugs. But for me, it was, I had like 2 crashes, I think. Outside of that, I had a great time with that game. I loved it. But I'm not oblivious to the problems of the game overall and what's going on with other people. So yeah, it was a big fail for CD Projekt Red to put out a game in that state. That was really messed up. Yeah. And you would think a lot of these people out there, a lot of developers and publishers would have looked at Cyberpunk and said, we can't do this again. But yet we're getting games like that. And speaking on that, AG, I think that's how you say his name. I don't want to butcher it. I'm not even going to attempt the last name. But the genius behind Zelda and Tears of the Kingdom here in this series, he had come out and made a statement that in an article that said that they were finished with this game like a year prior to it coming out. But they decided to delay it internally just to get the game running perfectly, polished, all the mechanics working. And I was thinking to myself, because I tweeted about this, I was like, hold up. Why are we calling it done until it's freaking done? Like, to me, a done game should be completely polished, mechanics all working right. Like, how is that statement even relevant, really, when you're saying that, the game was done. However, we wanted to make sure everything was working right for a year. Like, then it's not done. That's my thinking. It's not freaking done.
Yeah, it's like, from our perspective, it's not done if everything's not working. I guess from a developer's perspective, I guess their job is to finish that vision, at least like the substance of the game. I guess the polish is like we got all the creative side of it put together. Now we just gotta buff it up and get rid of the little messed up stuff about it. I can kind of see his perspective, but yeah, like, to me, at the end of the day, if a game is a broken, buggy mess, it's not a finished product.
Yeah.
So
it's like,
it's just 2 different perspectives.
Yeah, like right now you're watching some of my gameplay from Jedi Survivor. This game is not done. All right, it's not, in my opinion. Look, I love it. There's a lot of cool things going on in the game, but if I had to put a score on the game, I would severely knock some points down just because of the performance alone and the resolution that it goes down to. Because for some reason, the developers have decided to keep ray tracing on in performance mode on consoles. And I don't get that. It's like, it's such a resource hog. It taxes the CPU and the GPU so hard, yet you keep it on in performance mode. Like, to me, it seems like you take that away and it would alleviate the problem. I don't know, or at least help it a lot. But for some reason, they're not doing that.
I play on my games on PC.
Yeah.
Do I use like ray tracing? No. It's a waste of resources for a better, you know, as opposed to a better performing game. At the end of the day, I want the performance and the visuals to be reasonably well.
Yeah, yeah. And there's times where I'll zoom into the Cal's face on the game, and it's like fuzzy, and I'm like, why is the resolution so low? This is ridiculous. I haven't seen a game like this, even an open world game, trying to hit that 60 frame target this bad when it comes to resolution and frame rate in quite some time. Like, and it's a shame because the game itself, story, gameplay, combat, everything is really good. And that's sad because to me, it's not what the developers wanted to put out. Obviously, this comes down to EA, the devil, I call them, just wanting to push this game out. All right. Because EA was all over this at the beginning. Remember, a few days before the game came out, EA put out a statement saying the game's not finished yet, or the game's got some problems, but we're going to patch those really quickly. And I was like, wow, that's terrible.
Yeah. I feel as though if, you know, reviewers, like critical reviewers, would take into account performance as a point for scoring, that this would just stop.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they don't take that into account. To me, if the game could be the greatest game ever from a story perspective, from a gameplay perspective, if the game its performance is absolutely abysmal, it ruins all that great potential that you have there. So how does this stop? Well, when the critics take into account the performance of the game in their review score, that's when it will stop, because they, like, the developers, the publishers will realize that, this game ain't getting a good score in its current state.
Facts. Now let's get back to Zelda a bit, because people want to talk about Zelda. But first, let me get these super chats before they go away. I got Danny Passion Official celebrating 4 months on the channel. Thank you very much, Danny. He says, let's go. I have a Switch OLED, and I don't feel like paying $70 for Zelda, a game with OG Xbox textures. He's not wrong. And I definitely have a follow-up to this. I'm going to get to it in a minute. But first, let me go ahead and get this super chat from Hargeet Chani, my good friend. $5 super chat says, Zelda is doing things other games aren't. Yes, it is. Hargeet, I will attest to that. I will say that it's pretty cool, some of the mechanics and stuff that it does. They are still innovating within their games, Nintendo. And that's a great thing. That's awesome. It's awesome to see. He says it's excused because of all the systems. Zelda just did that and more, but it all works. Yeah, it does. And that is something that I will say to that man's credit, who was considered the genius behind the game, that delayed the game for a year to polish and all that. I don't consider it a delay. I guess it's an internal delay, but every developer should do this. They should take a year just to polish and make sure all the mechanics work right. That should be like
long it takes.
Facts. It should be just something that's done. Like this is automatic. And I know you've got investors, you've got freaking, publishing that wants a game out by this time and this time. But suck it, publishers. Suck it, investors. The consumers are the most important people in the market, okay? And when you put out a bad game, less people will buy your product. Why do you want that to happen? More people will refund the product. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But again, I digress. Going back to Zelda here. Here's the thing I saw the other day. I'm going to bring up somebody else that's in the community, somebody you may have heard of, Cassie. David Jaffe. I've had him on the show. Creator of God of War, the original God of War. Great guy. I like the guy. I have great, I had a great conversation with him on my show and everything. But he's done something recently that has caught my attention, and it really kind of just, It bummed me out a bit. So he's been talking about the game Zelda and said, you know, he's loving the game. However, he says it's ugly in his opinion. It's ugly. And he's not wrong. The textures aren't great. Doesn't look great. I know a guy who's loving this game right now too and says the same thing. Game's not very good looking at all, but it's an awesome game. And he also says that for him, the controls are taking some getting used to for him, right? And people came at him, Nintendo fanboys. You know how fanboys are. They came at him, came at his throat. And then he put out an apology video the next day. This is where I take issue with what David Jaffe did here.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, folks. It's not just about David Jaffe. But yeah, he apologized for hurting people. And I'm thinking to myself, what is it about gamers today that get hurt over opinions on a video game? And I'm thinking to myself, because this kind of went in with what I was talking about on Twitter the other day, because I had told an off-color joke at work, and I'm into dark humor. I like dark humor, Cass.
Hell yeah.
I'm from the 80s, you know, I love dark humor. And I said something, and a lot of people laughed, and a few people didn't at my job. And I was like, why is dark humor lost on some people, you know? And then some people were responding to me on Twitter telling me, you know, it could be a generational thing. And I was thinking, maybe that's it, right? But then I was like, no, because there's young guys in their young, you know, early 20s that laugh at this stuff, like dark humor as well. So I'm like, it's not generational, but maybe it's social media. Maybe it's a lot of people telling them what they should and shouldn't do, what they can and can't laugh at. And that's something that we didn't really have. I didn't really have growing up. Or some people just have the mental capacity to not listen to others and just do what they wanted. Listen to themselves, and whatever they find funny, they find funny. Like, it's just that way. But I just found it interesting that he had to apologize to a group of people that were so emotionally connected to somebody else's opinion over a video game they may love. This is just weird to me, Kaz. I know you know what I'm talking about, because you've seen a lot of people coming after you for certain things that you've said about this stuff.
Yep. And it's funny that you bring up David Jaffe, because I think he has a lot of garbage takes, to be honest with you. But I don't want, despite
sometimes
him,
he does.
Yes,
I agree.
Despite me thinking that, I don't want him to apologize for any of his garbage takes.
No, don't. But see, and that's where that's why at the beginning of the show, I prefaced it by saying, look, I'm having Cassie Cage on because I may not agree with you, but you stick to your guns. Like, you said what you said when you said it. And that's usually how Jaffe is. But I just found it odd that he apologized to them. My main reason for bringing this whole thing up was just the whole sensitivity in gaming today and with gamers, especially on Twitter. It makes no sense. Like, I understand you got your console wars and that fanboy kind of thing going on with some people do the same thing with, you know, sports and stuff like that. But it seems like it goes a step further with gaming. People are getting hurt out here. Like, personally, I don't know, like their feelings are getting hurt, and it's just weird to me. I don't know, chat. Do you see this stuff? It's odd.
All too much, man. You know, there's a lot of policing that goes on the internet.
Oh, and too much.
I think a lot of people have become used to that mindset of, like, I don't know, who pulls the strings or who says what's allowed and what's not allowed. And sometimes those things change on a daily basis. So to me at that point, it's like, I don't care, because one day this is cool and then the next day it's not. And to try and follow all these rules that don't really exist, but a lot of people, I guess, on the interwebs want you to believe that it does. I can't be bothered. I really can't to listen to these arbitrary rules. So it is what it is, man. Just say what you want. And if later on you feel like, I don't feel like this anymore. I went through so many life experiences where I felt one way about something, and then 10 years later I've lived life. I'm like, I don't feel the same way about today. That's a part of living life and being willing to grow. I don't expect to have like the same exact like opinion on every single thing 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Because like I'm gonna live 10 years worth of life. And if that happens, then address it and why. And if not, hey, like stop apologizing for how you feel about something.
Yeah. 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 And as you said, like mindsets could change. Like as you get older and stuff, you could think, oh, maybe I was wrong about this. Or you may even change the next day. But the whole fact that an apology was made over an opinion on video games is just weird to me. Like it wasn't a strong opinion. It's not like he talked about a certain group of people or anything. It's like he said a game was ugly. Wow.
Yeah.
That's, and Dorian Gray in the chat says, I'm sorry, but if you make a bad take, you deserve the smoke. Well, that's fine. You can give people all the smoke you want. I say, people come after me a lot because one of my favorite games of all time is Red Dead Redemption 2. Okay. Love it. There's a lot of people that don't like it out there, and they'll come at me and they'll try to make me feel bad about the game. Oh, this sucks about it or that sucks about it. I don't care. I don't care what you think. Like, it doesn't bother me in that way. I don't freaking lose sleep at night over the fact that you didn't like the same game that I did. I could care less. I could care less. It's weird to me that for some people, they actually feel it. Like they get emotionally invested. It's odd.
I mean, look, man, if someone I think has a garbage take, I'll say they have a garbage take, but I'm not going to take it with me to the dinner table. I'm not going to take it with me to bed. Like that's not how this works. And it's crazy that he does apologize, because it's like through all the, the whining and stuff, did you suddenly change your mind? Like, oh, I have seen the light, guys. The game is gorgeous. It's the most beautiful thing visually they've ever seen. About. He's not going to feel that way. Why are you apologizing? Because you think that the game is ugly.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. I don't understand it. Like it's just to silence this niche of people that think that your take is bad.
Who cares? Who cares? Like, honestly, I have people that, don't like me, and they'll come to my show, downvote my show, or say something in the comments that's real negative. It doesn't bother me. At the end of the day, oh well. Okay, you don't like my stuff. Good. Watch somebody else. Yep. Like, whatever.
Exactly. I don't even bother giving like thumbs down on videos. It's like, if I don't like your video, I just won't return. It's really that simple.
Yep. And, I see, who was it in the chat? Danny Passion Official again said, Jedi is a great game, but it's a broken mess on PC. Sir, it's a broken mess on everything. It's not perfect. And you know what pisses me off too, Cassie? These people out here, these console warriors, okay, that will sit there and try to, just because they're fighting a console war, they'll try to say their piece of plastic is running this game super smooth. They have no issue with it. I'm like, what? Like, stop lying about it. Like, you could say, hey, it's not bad. I can deal with it. But don't tell me that it's super smooth. You have no problems. You're not seeing any frame dips and all this stuff, because you get that all the time from some people. And it's like, why do you lie? And I mean, you're lying to us and yourself here. The game has issues. It's clear.
Yep. And even with like, for example, The Witcher 3, I've seen a lot of people's like, when that game first came out, I've seen a lot of people's like issues with the game. Yep. Personally, my issues weren't nearly as bad, but am I not going to acknowledge that this game is messed up for a lot of people? Of course I'm going to acknowledge that.
Of course.
It's not like they made this up. They literally were showing like footage of it. The same thing with Cyberpunk, man. A lot of people had a lot of issues, and clearly it was presented on the internet. How could you deny that the game came out in a terrible state? Like, come on. Yep. Like if anything, I want everyone that's playing a game that I feel passionately about to have a great experience, because I want to spread a great experience to as many people as possible. That's why I beg people to play like Bayonetta 1 and 2. It's like, if you never played this, you're missing out. Like, it's a really fun hack and slash game. And like, I want that experience to be available to more people.
Yeah.
So ideally, I want the games that I think are genuinely good for their substance, like, Tears of the Kingdom. because I could tell that that game has a lot of substance to it, despite being on the Switch, despite maybe not looking like a $70 game should. You know, I could tell that that game has substance. I would love people to have the great experiences all across the board.
Yep. Firestorm in the chat says that Jedi is more broken on PC. You're right. It is more broken on PC. I will say that. You primarily play on PC, right? That's yeah. I know you have consoles as well.
I play on everything.
Yeah.
Honestly, I will say my PC replaced my Xbox because I could play everything on PC anyway. But
yeah, that's how a lot of people are going right now. Honestly, is PC when it comes to Xbox. And you know what? Hey, they gave you that option, and so it's there. But a lot of PC ports are just looking bad today. These multi-plat games, whew, man.
It's disappointing because it's like, you know, PC, it should be the best, technically speaking, but they aren't. Like, it's sad. I don't want to reward these bad habits with my money, and I do avoid them like the plague, if at all possible. It sucks, man. It isn't just a PC issue. It seems to affect PC more because they just don't want to take that time to polish their games to be able to work on many different setups. Because that's what PC gaming is. Everyone, I put my own PC together. I have my own specific parts that I chose that I thought were the best, or given, my price range, I thought was the best for the particular price. And, I expect my game, the game to, especially since I paid what I paid for it, I expect these games to run reasonably well on my hardware. Because I have recently like a PC that has damn good parts in it. So why is it that if I were to buy this game, and like I said, I try to avoid these bad games like the plague, why is it that if I were to buy these games, they would run like crap? Yeah. It's not acceptable.
I feel the same way with my consoles, the Series X and the PlayStation 5. It's like, these games should be able to run better than they're running. It's of course you can't compare them to a high-end PC, but you can say, hey, they're decent, right? And if you look at PlayStation exclusive games, I know my Xbox fans are going to hate this, but they're pretty damn quality. They're running great. They've got 60 frames modes. They're looking good. We need more of that from multi-plat developers. We need more of that. I think for Xbox, it's more of a case of we just need them to get some damn AAA games out. That's what they need to do. But yeah, with these multi-plat developers, man, it just seems like they're just pushing these games out, not ready. And it's a problem we've had for years. Yeah, it's publishers.
The publishers. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yep. That's why I call EA the devil, because they usually do this more often than anybody else. They're the worst offenders, in my opinion. Just a terrible company, man. You know why I hate EA so much, guys? They killed my BioWare, okay? I loved BioWare. BioWare was one of my, if not my favorite developers back in the day. The Mass Effect series, Dragon Age, loved them. And then EA comes and swoops them up and is like, okay, slowly they just started to die. And so
EA killed Fight Night for me.
Yeah.
I love Fight Night.
I'm praying for Dragon Age 4 to be good. Let's hope. We'll see.
We'll see, man. I hope so too, because I know a lot of people are highly anticipating it.
Yeah, and I heard a rumor recently that Dragon Age 4, that they were building this game initially to be like a co-op game. And now recently I heard EA told them they squashed it and said, no, make it single player only. So I'm wondering, boy, what's going to be screwed up in that game now? Because when you try to make it a certain way for like co-op or a single player game, it doesn't always translate well when you try to reverse that and you try to make it something else. Like, I hope it's good, whatever it is.
I hope that they allow that extra time to accommodate these changes that they demand to be made. So.
And a new Mass Effect coming out, after the whole Andromeda mess. I'm worried about that.
I tried Mass Effect with Andromeda. Huge mistake. Absolutely huge mistake.
Part of the appeal of the Mass Effect series was the dialogue.
Yeah.
And the dialogue in Andromeda is horrendous. And, I had people come up to me and go, look, I played Andromeda and I thought it was great. And I was like, what did you like about it? Oh, the combat's great. Yeah, the combat is good. But did you listen to the dialogue? Did you actually, pay attention to the story? It sucks, It's bad.
The only thing I messed around with Andromeda on was the co-op, because the gameplay was decent, but that main story, I didn't play that for very long. I'm like, no, this is bad. I can get my little bit of fun out of that co-op and be done with it. But that's not the essence of what Mass Effect is supposed to be.
Nope. And because Mass Effect has so many different topics it touches on, man. It's such a huge freaking game when it comes to dialogue and stuff, and just the storyline and everything, and those side missions, they were all just great. Mass Effect 1 through 3, loved them. Then Andromeda comes out, and I'm like, really? Terrible.
I don't know why they went through with that one.
Let's go ahead and talk about the showcases, people. So it's funny. We've got the June 11th showcase for Xbox that was announced a couple of months back. And recently, we just had Sony come out and say, surprise, we're going to come out before Xbox's show. And we're going to have an hour-long show on the 24th. So that's this Wednesday, I believe.
Yep.
So that is exciting. I know some of you Xbox guys don't want to hear that, but I am excited for the show because I do like PlayStation games. I do. I've always said that. I love their games. Now, let's get into this. We'll talk about both, but first, let's start with the PlayStation show here, okay? What do you think they will show at this event?
I think what's definite is Spider-Man 2. That's going to be interesting. I like Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man. I loved it actually when it first came out, but I found it trying to replay that game is I'm not very into it. I tried replaying it on PC. I'm like, damn, I'm just not into this nearly as much, because a lot of the side missions are why a lot of these walking as Peter Parker or Mary Jane sequences are miserable to go through. So I'm hoping that they do take some criticism into account, and I'm wondering how they're going to raise the bar. How are they going to make Spider-Man more interesting than it was before, and make me not feel like been here, done that? Because from what I'm thinking, it's probably going to take place in New York again. And while I don't necessarily want them to go to Queens, and I'm from someone that's from Queens, I don't want them to go to Queens. I don't want them to go to Brooklyn or whatever, because Manhattan is where the swinging happens. Those are where you have all the big towers. So how are you going to make this experience feel fresh?
Yeah.
And I think that Insomniac can pull it off. I can't imagine it.
So originally I was on that same thought process. I was like, can I see myself swinging through the same city a third time? Because I did it with Miles Morales, right? Then I got to thinking, I was like, well, look, Insomniac knows what they're doing. I feel like Insomniac is going to do some... Oh, crap. My mic fell. My mic fell. Yeah, I think that what they're going to do is give us some more maybe interior areas. Maybe somebody told me maybe they'll mess around with the multiverse. So maybe we'll go to some other area. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
never know.
We never know. But the most interesting thing here is that, because in the CGI teasers that they've had in the past, having Miles Morales and Spider-Man in the same game, some people are speculating maybe co-op. Co-op would be cool. That would be interesting. Yeah. And that would be
change it up.
And that would be a huge win for PlayStation, because they need more multiplayer games.
Yeah.
So, and co-op games. So it would make sense. And I put up a poll in the chat asking if PlayStation going first was good or bad. What do you feel about that, them going first?
To me personally, the whole competition directly, I'm indifferent to it. They're both giving showcases, so I'm excited to see what they're going to be swinging with. I'm just going to objectively judge each one, and hey, what they got is what I'm looking at. I mean, could it necessarily be better if PlayStation going first? I mean, at the end of the day, they're going first, so Xbox can account for that. They definitely have time after Sony gives their showcase, so I guess that can benefit either party. I don't know. Like Xbox is benefited by that because now they already seen what their competition, even though they don't consider them competition, I guess, has out there. Maybe I don't know. Fanboys are gonna fanboy. That's really what it boils down.
It doesn't bother me either. It does for me. It doesn't care who goes first or last. I don't care. Like it's ultimately what it comes down to. You said it right. It's fanboy rhetoric. It comes to mic drops and like who's gonna drop the mic, and kill it or last or first. It doesn't matter. Look, if they both have good games that they show, that's all that matters. That's all that should matter.
Swinging. Yep.
That's all that should matter. When it comes to Spider-Man, okay, too, we definitely know that's going to be there. Hands down, that's going to be there. It's rumored that they may show Factions 2.
I hope so.
And that game has been teased for years now, since 2020, I believe. So we have to see something there on that. They need that too. That's another, big win for them with multiplayer and everything. Mortal Kombat 1. What about that? Maybe it's not.
I mean, I hope not, because we already seen it. I don't.
Yeah.
It's coming out September. Maybe we'll get some
Do they have a
gameplay.
marketing thing with them or no? I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do. If they did,
haven't really referenced it.
It would probably be there. But yeah, I didn't see that referenced at all. What about Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake? That's rumored.
So I never played that game, but I have so many friends that say, yeah, that's my favorite game ever. My friends are going to be screaming like little fanboys, and I would love to hear that if that's the case. So that would be a huge dub for PlayStation if that is indeed exclusive to them. And that just seems to be their mindset with how they're pushing their strategy to get those exclusives. While I think Konami went out bad the way that they did with Metal Gear Solid 5, if they could earn their way back into gaming by pleasing us, the gamers, with some dope releases, hey, go for it. But I hope they do realize y'all went out bad. So you got to earn people's trust and you have to earn your cred back.
Yeah.
So from what I've seen, Silent Hill 2 looks interesting. If Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake is also in the mix, hey, a lot of people would be excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm personally kind of tired of remakes and remasters. Like I want new IP. I want new games with new mechanics. I want people to innovate again. I'm tired of going back and looking at all this stuff and going, that was a great game. Let's remake it.
It's hit and miss for me. It's like some games I could justify a remake of, especially if they're going to remake it and then like change the mechanics to be like insane, like maybe step it up a bit.
They have to.
Like I could see that. Yeah, exactly. So like that, and it's like new IPs. Ideally, do I want new IPs? Yes, I would love to see some new IPs. Do a lot of new IPs that come out now seem like absolutely things that would be a shame to play? Yeah, sadly, a lot of them just come out, and I'm just like, oh my god, I there's nothing you could do to get me to buy a game like that. So I'm like in the shuffle, man. It's like, do I like the fact that the game, like the industry, is big on remakes right now? And like in essence, no. But are those games like appealing to me more than new IPs are? Yes. Yes.
So it seems like a lot of people is really loving some of these remakes, and it's funny because like I'm playing the Dead Space remake, and I've been kind of slogging through that. I love Dead Space. I loved it, I should say. I think it's a great, fantastic series. I love Dead Space 2 even more. However, going back to it, it's basically the same game. There's not much difference there. It's Dead Space. And again, it goes back to what I said earlier too. I like more explorable areas. I like the big open worlds and stuff. I like to explore more. And there's not much to explore in the Dead Space in the ship. I kind of remember where things are at and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. It's just for me.
Maybe you were into it. maybe you were into that kind of game like way back in the day, and now you don't really
I'm
vibe
sort
with
of,
it as much as you used
I'm
to.
not, yeah, exactly. I'm when it comes to not vibing with, it's the linear path games that I'm sort of just steering away from now. It's like, I want to run around and do my own thing and go anywhere I want on the map. That's what I want to do.
I'm shocked you're not big on Tears of the Kingdom then.
You know what it is?
Jam.
You know what it is? It's all the puzzles in that game. Like, I'm not huge on many puzzles. Like, God of War Ragnarok. The first 10 hours of that game, it was like a puzzle simulator 2000. Like, it felt like there was more puzzles than combat, and I couldn't stand that. But after that 10 hour,
2018 either. Is it 2018 or 2016?
2018. I love 2018 way more than Ragnarok. But I still liked
puzzles.
Yeah, I liked Ragnarok, but I'm telling you, the puzzles were just, it was just too much. And the fact that as soon as you get to a puzzle, Atreus or somebody that was with you will start telling you how to finish the puzzle right away. It's like you're just looking at it and it's like, hey, maybe we should move that rock over there. And I'm like, let me at least look. Damn it. Let me at least try it myself. That's one thing I will say about Jedi Survivor. With the puzzles, they'll wait a while and then they'll say, do you want BD to give you a hint? Yes or no? And you get to pick. So that's cool. If I don't want a hint, I don't want a hint. That's the way to do it. By the way, I think I had I got to get the super chat. It was about Jedi. Danny Passion Official, $5 super chat says, yesterday I played 3+ hours of Jedi with no crashes. The FPS were stable. But today I had over 10 crashes, one after the other. Wow. And he's playing on a 4090. That is unacceptable. God. That is unacceptable. See, it's trash like that, man.
And you know what, man? Building PCs is more expensive than ever before. And for the software to be as poor in quality upon release as it is, completely unacceptable. Sad. Yeah. It's sad. The state of gaming in that regard.
Now, PlayStation is also saying that they're going to show a lot of PSVR 2 games, which I'm already checking out of that. Like, I don't want to see PSVR games. I don't like VR. I'm not into it. And yes, I've tried it, and I actually, well, I'm not going to go through that story again because it was weird. VR chat, no, nightmare. There's some serious weirdos on that thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
But I don't care for those. But outside of that, and like Spider-Man 2, Metal Gear Solid 3 being rumored, the remake, what else can they really show there? What would speak to you? What would you want them to show?
And honestly, I want Days Gone 2 so bad.
You know what?
It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
Wait a minute. I like that because I really liked Days Gone a lot. I thought it was underrated. Oh, yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. The first several hours I thought were just kind of, I thought it was slow, the pacing.
Yeah, it was.
But once it ramped up, I loved the game by the end of it. Yep. I thought it was incredible. And I was all set for part 2 because of that secret ending. And I was like, give me part 2. And it never came. And it won't come, sadly. And it sucks. Instead, we get Horizon Forbidden trash. Okay?
You know what? I love Deacon as a protagonist. I thought visually he was one of the coolest looking dudes that PlayStation has made in a really long time. I even like that he muttered to himself like he's going insane. And it's like I kind of understand. It's like in that world I'd probably be talking to myself too. Yeah.
Sometimes he did that a little too much and he was like, I was just sitting there going, what are you doing, Deacon? But at least he had a personality.
Yeah.
Aloy's got zero personality, and that's why I called it Horizon Forbidden Trash. You can love the games, guys. I don't personally like Horizon. I think Aloy's a horrible protagonist. I think she's boring, but I digress.
I agree.
Days Gone is a much better game, in my opinion. It was just, I don't know. It was not the first, I won't say that, but it was one of the zombie games I really liked. Like, it was really cool. It it was fun. The mechanics, the gameplay loop. I enjoyed killing all those zombies, going after the nests and everything. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I cleared all the nests because it was just
more
fun.
than anything, the gameplay loop is the most important thing. The
Yep.
gameplay loops in games, like for me, I don't really like Uncharted because the gameplay loop, what is it? It's like you run around, you solve puzzles to get to certain like whatever you're looking for, and then the game, like the gameplay loop is essentially, well, I'm gonna pick up this gun that has 10 bullets in it, empty that clip, take cover, find another gun that also has another 10 bullets. Like, I don't like that.
Basically, they just stole everything from Tomb Raider, because that's what Tomb Raider is. Basically,
I appreciate Tomb Raider more because like you have more like weapons that are personalized to you. Like Lara, like you upgrade it with the reboot anyway.
Yeah.
Specifically, you upgrade those weapons that are personal to you, and you have like find all the ammo and you just keep it moving. Like I preferred that more. I like the open worldness of it.
Don't get me wrong. I like Uncharted games, especially Uncharted 2 is my favorite out of the series. But I love those games. But I get what you're saying.
I like the characters. That's what keeps me playing those games, even if I'm not necessarily crazy about the gameplay loop. Now, if Uncharted was like a 60-hour game, you think I would sit there and play that? Hell no. Since it's like 15 or so hours, I could live with that because I like the characters. I like I like seeing what they're up to.
Yeah, no, it's a good series for sure. But yeah, outside of those games that we talked about, because I can't see them showing Final Fantasy 16 again because we've seen so much of that already, and I'm looking forward to that game. But
maybe like a little set. I hope VR stuff is like a montage. Maybe they'll just show like a short little like clip of like, hey, remember this is like coming out, next month. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. How about you, Final Fantasy 16?
Oh man, that game looks like everything like I'm looking for in a game. It just happens to be like it happens to be the 16th mainline installment of Final Fantasy, but hey, at least they look like they're truly innovating gaming, unlike a lot of these games.
Well,
kind of just like rinse and repeat.
You've got Yoshi P behind it, which is the guy that, really like brought 14 from the brink of death.
Yep.
And he created so much cool things and stuff in that. So hopefully, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's good. But the one thing I will say that I hope they show at this PlayStation show, and I think it would be killer to show, is something from Wolverine. I think that would be awesome.
I'm looking forward to that more than Spider-Man, honestly.
Oh,
and I don't get hyped for games that I never seen gameplay for.
Yeah, but it's Wolverine.
Just the thought. Yeah, honestly, so I don't know if you played X-Men Origins Wolverine. The movie was crap, but the game was great. Fun.
Yep.
It was awesome.
It was.
I want to see the blood and then the regeneration. Like I want to see like Wolverine get scratched up and his body regenerate. It'd just be like a really dope linear. I know that you're not into linear, but like honestly, just that high action linear style game, like a Devil May Cry or like a Bayonetta, but like Insomniac's own interpretation of something in that. In that relative spectrum, I would be down for.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, "What if Wolverine makes a cameo in Spider-Man 2?" That'd be interesting.
Hey.
That'd be interesting.
I would like to see what
because I would like to see crossovers.
Yeah,
with Insomniac, making these games and everything, it would be really cool to see. I'm looking forward to that game. That is one of my most anticipated games is Wolverine. I know Insomniac's going to do a bang up job with that game. But do I really think we'll see it this week? Probably not.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. They're really going to push Spider-Man heavy. I would love to see Venom. That's definitely a big thing that I want to see. I want to see what's up with him. If he's going to be like playable, that would be sick. Like a lot of people want the whole co-op thing between Peter and Miles, and like I get it. But I'm like, bro, what if we can play as Venom?
Okay,
that would be sick.
What if you play as Venom and you see his story arc sort of play out as you're playing the game, and then you switch sides and you play as Spider-Man?
I'd be down for that.
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, different gameplay between two. I think
kind of like what they did with The Last of Us 2, even though I didn't care for Abby or any of that story, but going back and forth like that. Yeah, maybe something like that.
I want to see multiplayer so bad. Like, yeah, I love the OG factions. That was what kept me on that game so much longer than like the original Last of Us than I otherwise would have.
Yeah.
Please just show factions, man. I'm not really hype on Naughty Dog like a lot of people are. I didn't even finish part 2 because I couldn't stand Ellie. So imagine me going to Abby. I'm like, I'm not gonna enjoy this. So halfway I stopped.
It broke my heart. I loved The Last of Us. It's one of my favorite games. And then I played part 2, and I came away from that game wondering, what the F do people see in this story? Like, and then I asked, you know, because I have friends that are actual writers. They write books published, and they were like, that's an awful story. There's no satisfaction at all for the gamer. In the end, you're left with nothing. And they're like, well, you know, people are trying to explain like, well, that's the whole point. It's to make you think and make it. No. I want a sense of satisfaction when I play a game. I don't want to feel like after I play the game, like, holy shit, no, everybody lost. This sucks. Like, one of the main characters in this game that I loved in the beginning, Ellie, turned out to be, you know, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for people, but, you know, if you haven't played it, she gets nothing in the end. Nothing. She matter of fact, her life is ruined by the end of that game. And I'm like, how is this fucking enjoyable? Excuse me. I don't cuss much on this show, but damn it. It pissed me off.
Bringing the passion out of you, man.
It pissed me off. You
know what? More power to you, because I couldn't even stand Ellie in the second game. I just didn't really connect with her at all, which is crazy because I love her in the first game.
Yeah,
so that's why I kind of just was like, I'm good
because she was such a bitch. Like at the beginning, like to Joel and shit. Like, come on, like it didn't make much sense to me. Like, yes, I understand the story, and he saved you, and you may have wanted to save humanity, or you know, fuck, he saved you. He saved you. He looks at you like a daughter, and you're treating him like shit. That's the way I interpret it, right? But then there were moments in the game where it went back and it showed them, and they did certain things. I was like, there's the Ellie and Joel that I remember, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but anyway, I'll go on a tangent about that shit because it really pisses me off. I love the first game. So in my opinion, that game ended with the first game. It's dead. There's no more Last of Us. Yeah. Now it's just factions. If The Last of Us 3 comes out, I'm not buying it. I'm not playing it. It could be the best game in the world. Fuck it. It's not The Last of Us. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the Xbox showcase now because, now you pissed me off about Sony talking about that. Damn it. I apologize, people, for cursing so much, but it's the passion.
Hey, I love the passion. So
we got Xbox rumors out there that we might see Avowed gameplay.
Please. That is the one game I've been waiting for like, I love Obsidian. I love the Outer Worlds. I'm excited for both Avowed and Outer Worlds too. When they showed Avowed, that CGI trailer, I'm like, oh my god, they're making an Elder Scrolls knockoff. And it's Obsidian, and I think that they're a better developer, in my personal opinion, than Bethesda's in-house. I am hyped. And then we saw nothing for years. And I'm just like, oh my god, what is this game?
And especially because they've already got the groundwork laid from, you know, the world that it's in is from what is it that they make? Pillars of Eternity. So they've already got the groundwork there. They're just making like basically an Elder Scrolls looking type game in this world. And who doesn't want that? Like, for me, and I talk about this with Zocker, this another content creator on this platform, but we talk about wanting more fantasy games like this, like Dragon Age, like Elder Scrolls. There's not enough of these types of games out, so it's very exciting, and because it's from Obsidian, which, by the way, when you said that they're better than Bethesda, I'll sort of agree with you because they make the best Fallout game in my opinion, and that is Fallout 2. New Vegas, best Fallout game, hands down. Also, there is rumored to be, now this is one that came out of left field for me, Persona 3 remake. Persona 3 remake.
That leaked, right? They showed a little bit of a leak of that. If that's at Xbox, that's pretty crazy. Hey, good on Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, look, I may not like Persona games, but I can appreciate variety. Variety is what you need, especially on the Game Pass platform, a subscription service. You need variety. You need a bunch of different types of games. So you need that. That's why I'm always complaining they don't have enough AAA, games, first-party games on Xbox, because they have a lot of other games aside from Halo, Gears, and Forza. People I know, every time I say that, they're like, they got Gears, they got Forza. They always have Gears and Forza and Halo. I want to see new AAA IP coming from Xbox. That's what I want to see, Hellblade 2 gameplay might be there, which would be awesome, because I want to see legit gameplay, not just, Senua throwing a spear and running away from a giant. Like, I want to see gameplay. I want to see that combat they've been talking up for a while. I want to see gameplay. So do you like Hellblade?
I tried the first one. It's kind of feels like, I feel like God of War games took the template from that game, and really? I don't get into them. It's not for me.
Hellblade's worse in my opinion than God of War. It's basically a walking sim, puzzle sim. Like, I didn't care for Hellblade, but with Hellblade 2, hopefully they expand on combat and do less of those puzzles and less walking around. Like, I want to see this game really get bigger. So hopefully they do that with Hellblade 2. I have my mind open. I'm not closed on this game. I'm not saying that it's going to be bad at all, because I got faith. I like some Ninja Theory games out there from back in the day. So hopefully Hellblade 2 is good. Forza gameplay, that's a no-brainer. I'm sure that's going to be there. You a Forza fan?
Definitely. I like Horizon. Motorsport, not my thing. Yeah. Not like a racing sim fan, but honestly, they make some really innovative games in terms of like the
they're good. They're great
visual ability, and I played Horizon on both my PC and my Xbox Series X. Awesome, man. Awesome. So I might actually download it to see how it runs on my PC. I just had a curiosity. Like, Game Pass allows that, so which is cool. So I'll even probably check out Hellblade 2 when it comes out, just to give it a go. Why not? With it being on the service.
Exactly. Let me get a couple of these super chats here before they go. I've got Hustle and Motivate. What's up, Hustle? I've had him on the show before, and of course he knows you, Cass. He says, happy to see Cage here. What's up, FOnz? What's up? It's good to see you, Hustle. Great guy. I also have Mark from the Just Gaming podcast. He says, FOnz, PC parts are cheap right now. Do it. I'm hoping for The Last of Us 2 remaster. What? Oh, you bastard. You know what? I hope it's broke. I hope Sony gives you a broke Last of Us 2 remaster. How about that? Shitty ass game. Anyways, Legendary drops the other half of the Just Gaming podcast. He drops a 5 and he says, 160 people watching, only 93 likes on the video. Show love to the GOAT. Hit that like button. Not the GOAT, but
damn right.
Yeah. Hit the like button, people.
Damn right.
Appreciate you. No, now getting back to, hold on. Oh, here, I got this here. Mark from the Just Gaming podcast again. He says, Microsoft needs to show a lot of first party games. Less ID at Xbox, 100%. Like, honestly, that's my biggest beef right now is the lack of AAA new IP from Microsoft.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully, like they talked about all these games that are AAA, even quadruple A. Remember that? Quadruple A. Perfect Dark. We haven't seen anything from Perfect Dark. Like, what's going on with that game? What's going on with Fable? What's going on with Contraband? What's going on with State of Decay 3? There's a lot of games out there that they're, touting, but we
hear a lot of bad things about them. Like, silence the bad, like the negative, like rumors, man. Perfect Dark has a negative rumor that's chasing it. The same thing with Fable. And
State of Decay had some rumors for a while. Yeah.
Shoot these rumors down with the proof. If I don't want to just make assumptions, but when they don't do that, you have to wonder, man. So,
exactly.
I don't know. I love zombie games, so I hope State of Decay 3 is interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. TSWS Gaming with the super chat says Cassie is dope. Happy to see her flourish. Likewise.
Appreciate
you. State of Decay, the original State of Decay. I loved it on the 360. I had a blast with that game. And then I was excited for part 2. And it came out and I was very let down. Like I was like, whoa.
I can't imagine playing that day one.
Dude.
I didn't play it day one. I got the, what is it, the 1X, I think a year or two. No, I think about a little over a year after it first dropped. And I was like, let me play State of Decay. Oh my god, that game's it was a mess even then.
Yeah. And one thing I really hope they do with State of Decay, and this is just, I know I'm thinking something that might not happen, but I would like to see more multi-platform, okay, so let's say there's like factions and you could go against another group in the same world and you guys have to compete, or there could be several groups and you have to compete with other people, real people within that world. Along with the zombies, you got to kill zombies and stuff. But you could go to another faction's house, steal stuff, bring it back to yours, or get caught and die, and just make it really interesting like that. I would love to see a game like that with this, State of Decay. It would be cool, I think. Along with the zombies, you got to worry about real people.
Depends on how they could pull that off. I could see it in a mass scale sort of way.
Yeah,
but,
sort of like DayZ.
Imagine
somebody mentioned DayZ, kind of like that. Yeah, but on console,
that would definitely be cool. Yeah, for sure.
And let's say maybe your world can't hold that many people. That's fine, but as long as it holds enough and it saves everybody's bases and stuff and everything within, that would be fun. They would be fun to do that. Just, I don't know. Could there be anything on this showcase that would excite you?
Well, you said Persona 3. More so, I'm hoping for Jet Set Radio sequel.
Really?
So I got an OG Xbox for Christmas one year, and it came with I forget the racing game, but it came with Jet Set Radio Future. That was my favorite game on that system.
Yeah,
I played that game for a long period of time, and I'm kind of sad that it didn't come with backwards compatibility. I felt as though that's a no-brainer with that particular game, since it's only on the OG Xbox. I would love to see either a remake of Jet Set Radio, because it leaked out. And I'm pretty sure it's real. I have reasonable belief that it's real. It kind of seems like it has that home with Xbox, with the fact that Jet Set Radio Future was with the OG.
And then the success of Hi-Fi Rush as well, which a lot of people were saying, Hi-Fi Rush kind of reminds me of Jet Set Radio in a way. I get that.
With the style.
Yeah, the style. But yeah, I could see that. But I want a big AAA game. I don't know. I'm more into realism when it comes to the graphics and stuff. So I want to see Xbox make something like that, because that's something that they're lacking, really. They have a lot of cartoony games and stuff. If you like Sea of Thieves and stuff like that, those are some big games for you, I personally don't care for the art style, but I can appreciate a lot of people liking that game for several reasons. It's just not for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
At the end of it, though, I don't know. Who do you think will have the better show, PlayStation or Xbox? If you had to take a stab, I'll say I think PlayStation's going to have a better show.
It's one of those things where it just depends if Xbox is going to show off those big AAA titles, or if they're to continue to hold them hostage. If they show those AAA titles and we're looking at real gameplay, like legit gameplay from them, they could take it. But I do have to give, just because PlayStation is used to coming to these shows and they're used to making their base happy, or just gamers in general happy. You can't deny the fact that they do come with the games, and these showcases, their showcases tend to leave me happy, or excited. So I have to give it to PlayStation on that. But I will say Xbox can take it. Just depends. Are they going to bring the heavy AAAs? Are they going to show gameplay? I don't know what to expect from them. Sometimes they have a good show, and then sometimes they have a big stinker.
Yeah.
We have to see what Xbox we're getting here.
I think that, you know, the fact that Xbox is going to end with a Starfield showcase anyway, they're going to have a whole, you know, 20 minutes or half hour, whatever, for just Starfield. I want them to really show it off in a way that gets everybody excited, because this is a really important game for Xbox right now. Oh, yeah. And I'm not saying it's a game that's make or break. Okay. I'm not one of those that's saying if Starfield doesn't hit, Xbox is dying. Like, that's stupid. But it is a big game and it needs to land. Xbox doesn't have a big game like this year outside of Forza. But again, Forza, to me, racing games, they're niche. Yeah. They've got their own little, you know, subgroup of people that love those games, and it's awesome, whatever. But I need to see a big AAA game like Starfield land for Xbox, because it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. It's an
uphill battle. Starfield, when they showed off Starfield, I was severely disappointed. I like to call myself a very disgruntled Bethesda fan, because honestly, Bethesda has like been in, you know, at least on my shit list since Fallout 4. I hated Fallout 4.
Did you? I loved it. I loved it. I know it wasn't Fallout 3. It's the worst Fallout of them all. I say that all the time. But I still loved playing through the game. I still loved building my bases and stuff like that within the game.
Yeah, the thing that it
lacked was a lot of choice, a lot of real choice.
The RPG element. That's what kills me with it, because it's like I could play as any character as I want in one playthrough. What kind of role play experience is that? The fact that, honestly, we hope we have. I don't know if they confirm this or not, but I hope we have a silent protagonist with Starfield, because to allocate all those assets of dialogue to just your character, to me, is a complete waste of time and assets in general.
If you can do it and you know, and it's done right, I don't feel that it's a waste of time.
They didn't do it right to me in Fallout 4. The fact that I can make different choices, but the NPCs end up saying pretty much the same thing. Huge disappointment to me. It hurts. It hurts.
Yeah. Risk it for the biscuit in the chat says, if they just bring Fable, then they win. That's what he says. But, well, here's the thing.
I'm hearing negative things about Fable. They're saying it might be a relatively smaller in scope game than people anticipate. That's not a good thing. That's not a good look. I hope it's wrong. I want it to be wrong.
Because I want to see I want to see changes in Fable as well. I don't want the same type of Fable. I don't want the same art style or same stupid fart jokes and things like that within. I want a better Fable. I know people get mad at me for saying that because they love Fable. There's a lot of people who are nostalgic for Fable, but it wasn't a big game for me. And I played the Fables back in the day. I played them. I completed the Fables. I just didn't really care for them. They were just okay. I don't know. Anyways, that is the show for today, people. You guys in the chat, let me know who you feel is going to be, you know, winning the battle of the showcases, because I know you guys love that. But risk it. He says, no, FOnz, the humor needs to stay. Not the fart humor. That's stupid. Like, I hated that. You can actually fart in Fable. Remember that? It was stupid. It was dumb. But yeah, it's fine to have some humor in the game, but make it be funny. How about that? It's not funny. Unless I was like 5, you know. I think a lot of people were probably 5 when they played Fable. That's why they loved the fart jokes.
Maybe. I mean, it's been a minute since the OG.
It's been a while.
I didn't even play the OG. I played the sequel.
Yeah, I played the OG Fable back in the OG Xbox, way back in the day. All right. Show's over. Cass, let everybody know where they can find you and all that good stuff about your channel as well.
So my channel on YouTube is called Cult Classic Cage. I love talking about video games. Sometimes I talk about other things too in the entertainment space. Basically, my channel is a reflection of what I'm into or what I take issue with, and I freely talk about it from my perspective. And I always look forward to the conversations from these discussions. So, you ever want to engage in that, feel free to. I also do, happen to be on Twitter. If you want to talk to me there, Cult Classic Cage there. And I also, started streaming on Kick. I don't know if you're aware of this new platform. It's basically an alternative to Twitch. And I'm gonna throw my hat in there and see what happens. It's been pretty fun thus far. I do a lot of reactions to homies in the Discord that drop videos, and for me, I don't have to curate on Kick to see what they're sending me. For the most part, they're respectful, so they send stuff that's funny but not insane. So it's definitely interesting to see what people in the Discord want me to react to on there. But also, I play video games, man. I just finished Mafia 2, which is one of my all-time favorite games, and that's like the 6th or 7th playthrough now, and it never gets old for me. So,
did you like Mafia 3, by the way?
I'm giving that one another go now, actually.
Okay, try it. Because I really enjoyed the hell out of it. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
It ran like crap on PS4. And that disappointed me.
Yes.
So.
Okay, I do remember that. I played it on the Pro. My daughter played it on the PS4 Slim, and she had so many issues with it. I remember that because she called me up one day to her room, and then she was like, "Dad, look at the game." And the car was in the air. And I was like, that's weird. Like, I've never seen that. It never happened to me. But hey, I don't know. It happened to her, but I like that game. I like the protagonist a lot. Lincoln
I like
Clay.
The protagonist.
That's awesome.
That's what makes me want to give it another go. That's why I'm playing it on PC. I'm like, if it ain't playing right for me on PC, I'm just giving it up entirely. So far, it's been okay. I started it on Kick, so definitely want to see. Any guys want to check that out? Feel free to follow me on Kick.
Nice. Well, everybody, thank you for showing up today live and listening after the fact on any of the streaming platforms out there like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Appreciate you. And also those of you watching the show after the fact. Appreciate you guys. Till next time, game on.
Hey guys.